But let me just make this point. And I know breakfast isn't really like what I'm trying to say, but let me just say what I'm trying to say. So basically, my point is you need to eat things that will help with your digestion, and to realize that when you eat breakfast, it gives you energy throughout the day. And some of you may disagree with that, but I'm just going to state the obvious. And also, you don't want to be eating late in the evening where your food is difficult to digest, because that's why your body needs to sleep, it needs to recover, and you burn calories naturally in your sleep. That's why I'm not insecure when I'm like filming a video and it's zoomed in on my face, because these are things that I can deal with. I can deal with little bit of spots. I can deal with like days where I don't feel like eating the healthiest, but I try my best to stick to it. But that's what I'm going to say, because when it comes to diet, it is up to you, but you have to make sure that you give it your best shot, and to eat things in healthier alternatives, to eat things in moderation. That is all I really wanted to say, because it shouldn't be complicated, but it should be a part of your lifestyle. Hello team, I'm getting into this video now, and I'm going to break down the difference between a calorie deficit and a calorie surplus. So for example, when it comes to really guys, their maintenance calories may be 2,500, but when it comes to women, it may be 2,300. But yeah, let me just explain why a calorie surplus is very important, because on those busy days where you're busy, you have a lot going on, you have to realize that you need to eat more so that you have more energy, and to not skip out on really your breakfast. You need to make sure that you're not eating so late in the evening that your body doesn't digest the food properly. And you have to make sure as well that when it comes to eating breakfast, that you don't skip it on those busy days, because that's how you get your energy, that's how you really start the day, and how you start the day is how you finish the day. Because when it comes to calorie surplus, you can exercise more and you can eat more. It's just a natural way of how our bodies react to things. So for example, like if you're eating more, you realize that you're going to exercise more naturally. And it's very important as well that whenever you have something going on in your day, that you have energy to actually do that and to execute what it is that you said you're going to do. Because I have noticed that when I complete a task throughout the day, if I'm not eating as much, I realize that I lose energy, I'm tired, I'm not performing the best that I really should. And you're also exercising where you're going on walks, you're going to the gym at least 3 times a week. I may have mentioned this already, but it's very important that when you have a calorie surplus and you're eating over maintenance, that you're doing everything you can to exercise more and eat more. Let me move on to a calorie deficit. And this is when a person eats below maintenance. And you have to realize as well that, going back to what I said, where the maintenance calories for guys may be 2,500, but when it comes to women, it's 2,300. And for example, the lowest that I've gone on a calorie deficit is 1,500 calories. So what I was going to say, that if you're going on walks and you're burning calories naturally, you realize that over time, the more that you're going on these walks, because walking is such a low effort exercise, you realize that you naturally do it over time. It's very important that if you have a fitness goal, no matter how small it is, that you just focus on it one day at a time, rather than just focusing on like the bigger picture all the time. Because obviously you want to like look your best, you want to feel your best, but you have to make sure that each and every single day when you don't feel like your best, that you still choose to exercise, you still choose to eat healthy. And that's the same thing on the days where you feel your best. On the days where you feel your best, you feel like you can do anything, you feel like that nothing can really stop you, but you need that same energy and the same motivation and discipline for on the days where you don't feel like your best, because no one can do it for you. People can show you how it's done, but you need to do it for yourself. And that's what I'm going to say when it comes to a calorie deficit, because you're so low in energy and you feel like that you can barely do anything because you have less calories, and you realize as well that you're sometimes restricting yourself. When it comes to a calorie deficit, you can have 2 to 3 meals that are low in calories. You don't have to have one big meal that will make up all the calories when it comes to a calorie deficit. Instead, you can just have 2 to 3 separate meals that are low in calories, but just increase your portion sizes and to fill up the bowls and the plates, so that way you're satisfied with your meal at least. Water, for the most part, has 0 calories. Some of you may say water without the T, and some of you may say water, and that's besides the point, but I just wanted to be funny at least. But yeah, let me just continue on this video. It's because when it comes to eating in a calorie deficit, you have to realize that you may feel like you're restricting yourself. You want to make sure that when it comes to your meals that you're trying to reduce it slowly, because if you try and like have a calorie deficit where it's very extreme, you realize that there will be days that you do it well and days that you don't do it well. So that's what I wanted to say, because whether you're trying to at least gain weight and to build more muscle for a calorie surplus, or you're in a calorie deficit, where you're trying to lose weight, you don't want to go either way where you're very extreme. When you're doing things in an extreme way and you want fast results, how fast you really gain or lose weight, it'll make you really like lose your motivation fast as well. So that's what I wanted to say when it comes to this video. I don't want to make it longer than it has to. And if you're new, you can like and subscribe. And if you can, just engage throughout the comments. Just let me know like your progress when it comes to fitness. And I will be going to the gym like later on today, so